that when it's stable, it protects children from poverty. It increases the likelihood of those children will experience social mobility. It protects children from committing crime. And it prevents the state from having to pick up the pieces in the form of a welfare program or a police program. So more or less everything that you could care about if you care about social justice and you care about limited government, if you care about the poor and you care about freedom, is better served by having a healthy marriage culture, a civil society institution that takes care of raising that next generation, than by having the government try to pick up the pieces of a broken marriage culture. That's why marriage matters. What are the consequences of redefining marriage? Because how would redefining marriage to include same-sex couples in any way take away from the public purpose of marriage? And so for the first consequence, I'll say, is that if you were to redefine marriage to eliminate the norm of sexual complementarity, there would be no institution left in civil society and in public life that upheld, even as an ideal, that every child deserves both a mother and a father. The message that redefining marriage to make it a genderless institution would send is that men and women are interchangeable, that mothers and fathers are substitutionable, and that two moms or two dads is the same thing as a married mom and a dad. So the law would be teaching something about marriage, and it would be teaching that marriage is much more about the desires of adults than about the needs of children. It recenters the marital relationship around adult romance, adult emotion, as I mentioned at the beginning, the priority of the intense emotional union of the adult, rather than about the type of institution that can create new life and then unite that new life with the man and the woman who gave him or her new life. Second consequence is that there is no reason to think that redefining marriage would stop here. And to me, there is no logical reason, once you get rid of the male-female aspect, for why these further redefinitions don't simply follow like night follows day. Then the last consequence for religious liberty. We've already seen in the state of Massachusetts, the state of Illinois, and the District of Columbia that evangelical and Catholic adoption agencies and foster care providers have had to shut down because the government said they had to place children with same-sex couples on an equal footing as they did with a married mother and father. And we've then seen cases of photographers and florists and bakers and innkeepers, more or less every professional that intersects with the wedding industry has now been hauled into court, brought up on charges of discriminating against a same-sex couple. This is part of a larger trend that we've seen in general of people arguing that religious liberty just means freedom to worship. It's that you have freedom to worship. What you do on Sunday morning, no one's going to interfere with. But once you step out into the marketplace, Monday through Saturday, you have to leave your faith at the door. That if you're on Main Street or on Wall Street, you can't live out your faith in your profession. That's not what the free exercise of religion is about. That's what freedom of worship is about. The free exercise of religion, as the founders intended it, was that the state wouldn't coerce people into violating their consciences. But that'll be, I think, one of the first consequences that we see with the redefinition of marriage, coupled with the sexual orientation and gender identity non-discrimination statutes, is that they will use the law to coerce people into celebrating and treating a same-sex relationship as if it's a marriage, even when it violates